Hi, welcome to this week's episode of The Cultural Barrier. My name's Val.
And my name is Taj.
On this week's episode, we want to discuss, are we as a community really good at celebrating others' success, or do we like pulling people down? So, Taj, you're the one that decided that you wanted to talk about this topic. What was the reason?
Well, it started off with seeing a clip of Diljit Dosanjh on the Jimmy
Fallon show. Yeah.
Fallon show. I knew I was going to get the surname wrong. And I just thought to myself, wow, he's on a really big platform and he's doing well for himself, going on big stages. And wow, what a moment to think that someone from the South Asian community is doing so well. So loads of people on, different clips, not just from the South Asian community, but just throughout whatever community, trying to do his dance.
See, I don't know if that was because of the algorithms, because I saw loads of that. Was it that? It must have been the algorithm.
Yeah, it was, because we were stopping on that. So, but
Yeah.
the fact that it's being done, it doesn't matter. We've seen because of the algorithms, but it's still happening.
Yeah, fair.
So I thought, wow. But then you saw the negative comments as well, whatever they
Yeah, in
were.
the comments section, because I've stopped reading the comment section for a lot of things. I mean, I do read it sometimes, but then I am finding that, if you agree with something, it'll be more positive, it's negative, blah, blah, blah. So,
Yeah, to be honest, I don't agree with everything he's done. But even myself, I was like, oh God, I'm not going to name what he done wrong because that's a bit controversial as well. But there were certain things, actions that I didn't like that he's done as well. But okay, that being said, he has done a big thing on being on big platforms and being on big stages. So why don't we celebrate those bits? Okay, there is negativity a little bit, but everyone does. Oh, even us, if I was to say, oh, I love you, my sister, there's going to be a bit.
like your mum, I'm like, what?
There's even between us a relationship. Oh, she's a bit annoying this, or a bit annoying. I'm saying for both of us, or I don't like this. I find everyone's got that. We're human. And
Yeah.
the decisions, like even the clothes that I wear, I mean, you don't like me wearing cardigans, which you made me take off. That's even a negative, but I like to be warm, right? Just saying, there's two sides to everything. You're not going to love everything about anyone, not even the closest person that you're with. But then it's about how you put that forward. Is that me wearing, or it's really simplistic, me wearing a cardigan, is that going to overrule all the good stuff about me? And it's not about cardigans, it's general.
Let's flip this though, because okay, let's go back to the Diljit Dosanjh thing, right? I know what you're referring to in regards to the negative comments. Let's just also bring out the fact that it's not from one part of the South Asian community and not from others. Because if you look at the timeline of things that he's done over the last year or two, because he's become more successful, all parts of the South Asian community will gun from at some point, and they have gone from at some point, but it's interesting because I was thinking about this when you told me about, okay, this is the reason you wanted to talk about it. Has he done a good job in actually ignoring a lot of those comments? Because I don't know if just because I'm missing it. Yes, there's certain times where he has stood his ground, but from what I've understood, he's pretty much sidestepped a lot of that negativity. And then with that, what's ended up happening is people sort of forget what that negativity was. Now, I'm not saying whether those negative comments were right, or I get people have different perspectives on things, right? So I watched that Jimmy Fallon clip like a million times. I thought as an entertainer, that was a good performance, right?
Yeah,
And he brought up history, and then you sort of went back and like, I didn't know about some of that history. I'm like, oh, actually,
yeah, exactly. He's what I like about what he done, and we're not going to make the whole podcast about him because it's not about him. We're just kicking off with him. Is that he used his platform to highlight something, the historical thing as well, and I think that's important to do. I think,
okay, hold on. So yesterday I sent you a WhatsApp message. So me and my siblings have,
okay,
and you know what I'm talking about.
wrong timing. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a separate WhatsApp groups like most people. So, when you want to talk about something that other people shouldn't know about. Anyway, and I sent a clip that was political, right?
Because we're
And,
always talking about politics, which I've realised. Yeah, as a
right,
family we are anyway. Yeah,
and I was like, shall I put this clip on a different group, right? It's an important point
very
that
creative. Yeah,
I mean, I can't go into it exactly because what you've just said is we should be raising awareness where that platform is there. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. But then you guys said no to me. In which case, are we just.
But do you know when there's the white lie kind of theory, and you're doing it to also save, like for example,
Say
if
what? Everyone can say that then.
look, all right, you got the inner thoughts and you got the outer thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the inner thoughts, you need to think, okay, is it right to put it out there, and what are the repercussions of it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then the outer thoughts, well, the outer would be what you're saying. Okay, you've said it, so you're going to get a repercussion from it. So my thing is, you have to think over a mull, balance it up. Is it right to put it out, and what the consequences for the community, yes, and for yourself as well. And
But you're basically backtracking then from where you're saying, oh, where you've got a platform, you should raise awareness. But now you're saying, but then if it has an impact on you, then maybe think about it.
yeah, but it depends. Look, you need to think long term. If we kept gunning for everyone, that the path that came, the people that come through our own paths, we wouldn't be talking to anyone. Agree?
I agree with that.
We've had to face a lot of backlash and stupidity, basically, right? But we're not always
From our
going
perspective.
to, from our perspective, but we're not always going to say that out loud, out there. Because then would be seen negative, that we're always being negative, negative, negative. And two, you got to pick your battles.
But then do you think that when people pull other people out, once they've got a certain amount of power, they're wrong because we're pulling them down? So, because the whole point of this episode is to say, do we celebrate people that are doing well? Or are we happy to pull them down? Now, that's two sides of an argument. Should you be pulling out things, raising awareness about something that they've done wrong? And I'm not.
But do you know something? It depends also what the awareness is about. For example, if it's something really extreme, and I don't know, I think the things I'm thinking are really bad, but if they've hurt someone or harmed someone,
Yeah.
then that's different. Then you're wrong for not pulling it out. But if it's just a bit of a here or there, that's different.
No, I don't agree.
No, you have to look at each situation. You can't blanket coat everything. I don't think that's right to do, because everything has levels of seriousness and repercussions. For example,
So then why did you say no to me about what I was going to send out yesterday? Because it does have repercussions and serious repercussions. So why would I not send it out then?
but if you felt stronger enough, you would have sent it out anyway, regardless of what our thoughts were. Yes, baby, I'm right.
I agree with that bit, but I don't.
Because usually, to be honest, you don't ask our opinion. You would just do it. So why did you ask our opinion in that particular point?
Okay,
That is the question. And you're smiling because you know that's true.
Oh, I get that. I agree with
And
that.
we all do the same. When we think we're headstrong about, okay, it doesn't matter what happens, the repercussions, and you feel that you need to say this, we will do it. All of us will do it.
Yeah, fine. Okay,
But
fine.
if we don't, then we're like, should we, shouldn't we? Then we get each other's opinions.
Okay, let's go back. So what I was saying.
I like the way how it's all backtracked and let's forget.
No, I agree. What do you want me to say? Oh, well done.
Yeah, I do actually.
And that's the whole point. I'm celebrating the fact that you've just. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. If you are passionate enough, you'll do it.
Yeah.
Because most things do have a consequence. If you look at, the whole Palestine versus Israel argument, and, whichever side of the argument you're on, there's shit going down there that is just unacceptable. Like, it doesn't matter what side of the argument you're on.
Yeah.
Politically, it's different. If we're talking politics, that's different. But if you're actually talking from a human point of view.
Let's bring it back down to ourselves again, right? For example, we're trying to promote certain, and this happens with a lot of organizations. As an organization, we are doing, and we don't usually pat ourselves on the back either, we are doing pretty well. But along every step, we've had a challenge, mostly from our own community.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Trying to pull us down, trying to look like you're doing something and being nice, but really actually not.
Yeah, yeah.
Because,
I agree with that.
Sometimes you can't say what's happening behind closed doors because you don't know. You can't.
Okay, so there was a saying, I can't remember who said this to me, or whether I saw it on social media, I can't remember. But basically the whole thing is, you've got jars, right? and you've got frogs in them.
Okay.
And the only jar that doesn't need a lid on it is the one with the South Asian community. And the reason is because the frogs underneath are the ones that are pulling that frog down. It's never going to jump out. And I was like, that's a really interesting way of looking at it. And I genuinely do think that's true.
But is that because we're in the community, and that happens in other communities as well? But because we're in the community, we're facing that.
Yeah,
That
true.
happens with everything. For example, even in families, there will be that whole thing of you've got to keep the women basically quiet in certain circumstances.
Right.
All right, with us, okay, we have been able to talk, but there are certain situations where you're like, actually, should you be doing that? Should you be doing that? Yeah. For example,
Go on.
places of worship, the committee members are men.
Yeah.
Predominantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is still that whole narrative.
Hold on. Not only place of worship, you look at most companies, corporate companies, you look at politics. Yeah, all of these places have got better. But let's not pretend that they're where they need to be. The scale of, what was there, that protest of actors. So it's really,
Yeah, that's true.
This is where I suppose we're pulling ourselves down, where it's like, place of worship, but actually it happens.
No, you're right. It's everywhere.
Everywhere. And
but why is that? Why is that? Because if you let a woman be in charge, then you're letting her, I don't know, masculinity.
Yeah.
You have to listen to a woman. What is the reason why women still aren't on the top of the top?
I don't know, but that's not the point of this podcast, so we're not going to go down that.
That is very true.
That thing. So going back to something and what I said earlier, I just want to bring it
like that. That's not the point of the podcast, which is true.
So one thing, like I said, going back to the Diljit Dosanjh thing, one thing he did do is he tries to step away from that negativity, and I feel like it quiets her down. So is the solution, therefore, to
not fuel the fire?
Is the responsibility on the person that gives that negativity, or is it the one that is on the other end of it, and it's on their responsibility to actually sidestep it, in which case it diffuses the situation, which isn't in all cases either.
I think, to be honest, sometimes you're going to come across people that just won't change their minds. And then you're thinking, why are you putting so much energy into trying to change this person's mind? And you've got to draw a line and be like, okay, they are what they are. I need to step away from the situation. It's not worth the hassle.
Yeah.
And then I think when you keep getting negativity, at some point you're like, okay, I don't even care anymore. And I think I'm coming to that point of, I don't care. As long as I'm happy, I'm going to shut off whatever.
But the issue is people will be in situations where that's all they are getting, negativity. And then that does frame your mind, right?
But the thing is, isn't it good to be in a situation where you are in negativity? That means that you're doing something good.
That is true.
That you're doing something that is obviously irritating someone, not in all cases, but irritating someone, that they have to feel that they need to comment.
That is true.
Right. For example, there's charity workers out there. I'm not going to name names. And they do different bits of work, and this person gets a lot of negativity as well. Oh, you're trying to think who it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, and the thing is, the people that come out with that negativity and say, oh, this person should be doing charity work here, there and there. Yeah. Well, why doesn't that person that's commenting get off their fat ass and do it themselves? Okay. Stop being negative about someone that's trying to do something and get up and do it yourself. Because it's very easy to sit there and tap, be like, oh, this person, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you get up there and try to do something yourself?
So the person that you are, so I know who you're talking about. But they've also commented on their social media about this as well. And despite us saying it shouldn't impact us, let's keep it positive, the fact that they've got a lot of positive comments as well. Yeah. And they've got a lot of negative comments as well. So you know that I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
The fact that they've had to put social media posts out there saying, well, whatever to the people that are giving negative comments means that it is still impacting them. I mean, for example, when we get a negative comment, regardless of the fact that I'm 40 and now I should be grown out of worrying about what people are thinking, and I'd like to think that I didn't care, but quite clearly I do care with the fact that I mention it, right? And
Yeah.
that's the whole thing
I
about.
think it's the whole thing of, yeah, I don't care, but I really do kind of care kind of thing.
But then the world is turning very. But then I suppose this is who you're around. So going back to the question, are we a community that likes pulling each other down? And are we any different from any other community in that? Are we just humans?
I think it might be a whole community thing. I don't think it's just a South Asian community thing.
But
But
are
I
we better at pulling people down because we're
I
South
think
Asian?
we're more, okay, you're doing this, I'm going to try to do the same and try to be better. Not, I'm going to try to join with you and let's do it together. I see that a lot, just generally.
I've got one. So, with the running, in fact, I had this conversation with my daughter yesterday, right? And you know who my daughter is, so you don't need to think, oh, who's she talking about? Anyway, and we were just talking about the running. Now, I'm the slowest out of our group, right? And it was a conversation. So we were at the dinner table, and my son's like, "Oh, how far behind were you when we just did the 10K?" I'm like, "Okay, this is what my time was. This is it. Hold on, this is what their times were, right?" And he was like, "You were the slowest. You were this. I think it was 9 or whatever minute slower than everyone else." Whereas my daughter, she was like, "That's hardly anything," and it sort of made me smile, right? Because you get to do. And then he came back and he said, it's motivation, right?
Oh,
I'm
so
saying
he's
it for motivation.
what is it? Psychology.
And
Yeah.
this is where it comes back to,
Hmm.
is it the carrot or the stick method that we're using? And this is a community thing, or it's your upbringing, because we have had
I'm
this
just going to touch on
conversation
that. Yeah.
separately. And actually, is it a community thing? Maybe it is a
Wait,
bit
I'm
more.
just going to roll it back and then we'll come back to this because I think this is a really important conversation because I was speaking to my friend about it.
No, wait, hold on. I haven't finished my story about the running thing then. I then had a conversation with her separate, right? Just remember your story 1 second, right? And then this was a separate conversation, and then it came up again, the same, the difference in time. And I said to her, look, it's not a negative thing that I'm surrounding myself with people that are doing better than me. If I surround, it's that whole Sangha thing, like be around people that you want aspire to. If people are doing better than me, they're the ones that are keeping me. And I'm going to be really honest, they are the ones that are keeping me going, because I fall off the wagon all the time, sort of thing.
Not alcohol or drugs or anything like that, just running, just making it clear.
Yeah, that's going to be a clip that comes and bites me in the butt, right? But it is important to be with people that are better. If anything, they should stop hanging around with me. If anything,
Maybe it's good to use you as, oh, I'm not going to be that bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I was trying to say to her, look, don't take it as a negative. Like, it's fine. And the fact that we're in that group is actually pushing us all, really, because we're like, hey, should we do this race? Yes, we should. Like, let's just get on with it, sort of thing, isn't it? So it's inspiration. It's not. It shouldn't be taking the competition. It's not a competition. The competition is within yourself, really.
Yeah, I think that's true. Also, we only think about the comments that are around us. We're not obviously going to think about what someone else might be thinking. There might be an onlooker thinking, wow, I want to be like that. Because exactly at the same time when you were doing the running, I was walking around a big block and I was dying and I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. I was walking my husband and I go, but Val's doing this. Oh my God, well done to her.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you, but yeah, sometimes we inspire, and the fact that you carry on going, we're not concentrating on you keep telling us that you're the slowest. We're like, oh my God, she's crazy, but she's still doing it. Not crazy in a negative way, as in she's still doing it, like despite the fact that her feet
want to. My feet are manky after this.
Comes on to, you don't know who you're inspiring and who's looking on.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this once in a podcast like ages ago, where someone messaged me and she lives in Norway. And she's just been she was looking at our social media and she was going, I've been meaning to message you for ages, but I think the work that you're doing is amazing. She's not from our community, right? Which doesn't really matter. But the fact that she messaged me, I didn't know that she was looking at our social media.
Mm.
The fact that she's like, wow. And hopefully it's a catalyst of trying to inspire someone else to do the same thing. Again, going back onto Diljit Dosanjh.
Yeah.
Okay, there might be negative comments, but he's probably inspiring so many people to think, actually, I can get there as well.
Mm. No, it's true. But then it's nice to hear. We always say this, if someone has something positive to say, go say it, right? The fact that you got that comment, of course we get happy when we see comments like that. But then we've also got those people where perhaps they don't want to admit they've been inspired. And that's a conversation we had this morning.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right? And it's like, we know you're doing this because it was done in this way, blah, blah, blah. Just say, thank you. Can I get...
Wait. It is not even in the thank you. It's just like, oh, I decide to start this from basically working. Sorry, I looked around because it's
Did
raining.
you think she was there?
No, I looked around because it's raining in my. Oh, I'm being old, but my washing's outside. But anyway,
you want to pause the podcast whilst you?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
And so basically, it's not even the thank you. It's about, okay, oh, I did start this, but it was a good point that I blah blah. Blah. But the reason, literal thank you.
No, but the reason, and I'm going to be really frank, the reason we needed their help in this case is to say, look, when we're doing work like we are doing, and if someone has had a positive impact, it's helpful for our organisation when we then go to others to say, look, this is the positive impact that our work's having. That's just how it works, right? And if someone says, actually, no, you didn't, I did this off my own back and it's got nothing to do with you, which fine.
Harry's not coming onto our workshops and stuff like that.
Right? And that's fine. If it had nothing to do with it, that's fine. But it's that thing of helping each other. Like, it's passing the ladder down to the next person, basically, is what I'm saying. Right? Yeah. And surely if you've gone to, if you've done something and you can pass that ladder down, surely that is a good thing for a community. I don't know. Or I suppose it comes down to there can't be more than one person in this arena, because otherwise, we might all.
To be honest, what I've heard quite a lot of, there's always enough to go around. And if there isn't, then there's an issue. But there is always enough to go around. For example, if you're going to set up a counselling service, there's enough people to go out there and that need counselling. Just because you start and someone else has started doesn't mean that there's not enough work out there. You just need to go and search.
When I cut you off about the running thing and just making sure you're around thing, you were going to start talking about a story about your friend. Go for it.
I've forgotten what it was. But let's go back to about us talking about our own upbringing. And I think that's an important one.
Because so from the comment, so just so that people can follow this through, because another thing someone said is, because you get certain jokes or something I say, maybe it doesn't reflect because no one else understands certain bits. But anyway, what we said earlier is it best to do it with the carrot or the stick, essentially? Should you be giving positive praise, or should you be saying, if you don't get 100%, I'll beat you, sort of thing?
Yeah.
Right? What do you think about that?
With our parents, when we've grown up, they've tried to say, don't be over happy if something good happens. And I think we've taken it to the extent of, when something good happens, we're like, oh, it's okay, sort of thing. And we never self-praise. And I think that might be a South Asian thing as well. You don't overpraise yourself, because when you think that, you don't want to, what is it that in English? You don't want to. Yeah, bad. Yeah. So basically, it's a case of not over celebrating and showing the world that you're so happy, because they might start thinking negative thoughts and wanting bad for you.
Yeah.
So this is the psyche of everyone wants everything bad for you, right?
Yeah.
Then you stop self-praising as well and be like, oh, I'm crap, I'm not doing very well, or whatever. And you don't see the good that you're doing, which can cause you to have low self-esteem and the whole knockoff of that. Because
can I come in here?
You're ever good enough. Yeah.
So we've always thought, we've had this conversation a few times of, we have been brought up to think, okay, yeah, you've done well, okay, but you got 90%, but you missed out on that 10%. And I've noticed I do it with the kids, like it's automatic, like, oh, actually, yeah, you done well, 90%, well done. Even on the weekend, like, I have to say, so we had a part and the kids did really well with whatever they did. Like, we got together
and worship program. Yeah.
And the kids did really well. So I did actually praise them. I'm like, do you know what? I don't say this often, but you did good, right? And that felt really uncomfortable, to be fair. But anyway, I did say it. I'm very, very nice like that. But I know that perhaps it can go the other way, where kids get too much praise. And that even from our generation, our parents were very, I don't want to say negative, but they bring out the sort of negatives in certain situations. I don't always think that's a bad thing either, because I've seen it on the opposite end, where it's a case of my kids don't do
Oh
anything
my
wrong.
God. Yes.
And
Yeah.
I have had this conversation quite recently where it's like someone did admit to me saying my kids aren't wrong in whatever they do. And I'm like, okay, if they're not wrong,
Yeah.
there's nothing for me to say. I can't say anything, right? Regardless of whatever the situation is. But you're telling me your kids don't do anything wrong. And if they do, you're not willing to pull it out. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I think there's a problem in both ends of the scale, the stick and the carrot.
Characteristic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be a balance, which is hard to do with anything in life. And I can wholeheartedly say our parents would be like, if they're generally talking, I don't know, about someone making roti or something, right? They'd be like, oh, so and so make brilliant round roti or whatever. But our kids, they make crappy little ones.
I find it really funny that it always goes back to your rotia. You've obviously got an issue with your rotia.
They go
Right?
around
Yeah.
and they're crispy.
Okay, so this is the thing. There's not actually a positive or a negative. There's negatives of both ends, and there's positives of both ends as well, because you do become more confident if you don't think you can do anything
And it's
wrong.
almost like a challenge. Also, yeah, if you keep getting your parents saying, "Oh, this, and that, you can't do this, you can't do that," then maybe you think sometimes you think, "No, I'm going to challenge that, and I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better." So I think it might be to the or anyone's personality about how you do that. Because constantly, if you keep doing that to one child and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm rubbish," then maybe you need to switch it about and be like, "Actually, you're amazing. You're amazing."
Let's
Or
go the other way.
ahead, because like one minute you're saying that they're rubbish, and the next minute you're saying you're amazing. But anyway,
It's called being human, mate. Don't have to be all upset about that. But anyway, I mean, we've previously discussed this where perhaps we've given positive. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I definitely give a lot of negative. I mean, I was giving you negative comments before we started, and then you're like, "Hi, yeah, so the podcast." But I've had the situation where I've been really positive to someone, and then they stop talking to me. So now, right?
because they think you're weird.
Well, that is essentially what I think. Not that I know what's in their head, because I didn't ask, because they were a stranger and I was positive to them, and that obviously didn't go down well. But I've gone the other way. Just don't say anything to anyone. It's just easier.
Sometimes it does seem like it's easier because I remember when I was at uni, there was this guy. He goes, "Always say something positive about anyone around you." And I started doing that, and I do that quite a lot. And you're right. Sometimes you do get those awkward looks, like, "You weirdo, why are you saying that?" I seem to say a lot of, "Oh, you're really pretty."
I say that.
You're, all right, this one is a bit of a weird one. "You smell nice," but I think that's because I'm going through a very
I say that.
sensitive smell thing at the moment. When if there's even a little bit of, I feel sick.
So do
But
you go up to someone and say, "You don't smell good"?
no, I've never said that.
I've got a funny one, actually. We were discussing it yesterday, right? And so one of my friends went into the Godra. She's not from the South Asian community. And there's an auntie there that had said something to her child. The auntie would have thought that she was saying it in a positive. So she said, "Oh, you're so cute. You look like," and I can't remember what she said, "you look like," but what that look like wasn't actually a positive thing.
Translate, okay.
And so the auntie thought it was really positive, and she thought she was being nice. And my friend was like, "Oh, thanks!" But in her head, she must be like, "What the hell," sort of thing. So then my other friend, who is from our community, she sort of pulled her away in case any auntie said anything else that she shouldn't be saying. We were talking about it yesterday. But again, it's how you then take it. Because then if she had turned around and said, "You bitch, you called my child this," whatever, right? But she took it as a, "Oh, thanks," because it's like, actually, what was the intention of the other person? And if it was a positive, intention, then we have to take it positively, regardless.
So, could it be a cultural thing as well? Because you said that there were two different like backgrounds, cultures, or whatever. Because certain things in certain cultures, I remember watch a lot of social media. When you burp after you have a meal, that means that you've enjoyed the meal. Whereas I'd be like, "That's
No,
disgusting."
that is disgusting. I'm sorry.
That's just an example. No, but that's because we've been brought up to think that is disgusting. But whereas in another culture, it might be, "Oh, they've enjoyed the meal." So it's also about knowing about others' cultures as well, and seeing what's right for one culture might not be right for another culture. Yeah. For example, let's make sure that we draw back to what the subject is about. We're talking about negativity and positivity.
Are we good at celebrating other people's successes?
Yeah. Oh,
And the answer is hold on.
oh, is that what the podcast is
Hold
about?
on. Bring it back. Go on.
So overall, I would say as a community, we
No.
aren't. I don't
And
think
as individuals
it depends who the individual is. Not
and
how.
the relationship and the intention, I think that's what the biggest thing for both the individual and the community is actually, is the intention behind it.
Yeah, because I get really irritated when someone is all smiley and nice and pretend that they're being nice, but really at that point you know that they're thinking something completely different, and that is not something that I really appreciate. I'd rather that person be horrible if they are horrible.
No,
Maybe I'm a bit childish.
no, I don't like people being, even if they don't like me, just pretend. I don't like them being horrible to me. I'm like, I'm
Or
here.
just don't talk to the person.
Yeah, I'm better with that.
Yeah, I'd prefer that.
I prefer that. Don't make it positive. Don't make it negative. Just don't talk.
Yeah.
And but then that's how the world's turning. Like I said earlier, with me, I'm finding, well, I don't even want to say anything positive. Or I don't. I mean, with my friends, I do have a good laugh. I can be really quite horrible, but then, like,
In an intention way, not
in a nice way, as in a
nice way. Yeah.
in a horrible nice way. That's how I make my friends. And you won't be my friend if you're not good with that, because
I just want to go back to what we were saying about our service. We have had a lot of people be really positive about our service as well, and come in and say, oh, it's helped me, it's got me out of social isolation, blah, blah, blah. So it hasn't all been negative. Maybe we are just concentrating on the negatives.
That's it. Well, yeah, I agree. And then maybe that's where the receiver, like we were saying earlier, needs to sidestep it, and then the situation diffuses itself. I think that is a good way of going forward. That's something I've learned today. Now, that's the end of this podcast, but of this episode. But I do want to bring up something that we've been discussing. We are looking for the listeners of the podcast to send in their own suggestions and own situations. What are you going through that we can then discuss on the podcast from both perspectives? So if you've got an issue at home with, I don't know, your husband or your mother-in-law or your sister-in-law or your brother-in-law or your father-in-law or your mum or your dad or anyone or your friends, we want to analyze that. Or your daughter-in-law or your son-in-law or the other way. It always has to be in-laws. It can be friends, whatever. Anyway, the point is, send in your situation, and we want to analyze it from both sides, because, let's see if we can do it. So we're going to change the format up slightly. So on that note, how can you send it in?
Yeah, comment, or you can direct message us.
Yeah, DM us on our social media at changing_suits on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, or email us at info@changingsuits.org. www.changingsuits.org. That is what it is. Anyway, other than that, thank you for listening to this episode. That's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.